Hello Bowtie fans out there. Today we're just going to be doing a quick video on how to make Coca-Cola grilled onions. So what we've done so far is of course just chop the onion, which isn't very hard. If you need a video on that, just tell me in the comments and I'll show you how to chop an onion. A couple tips: don't breathe through your nose, breathe through your mouth. That will help you a little bit with you if you are an extreme reactionist to onions. In here we've just got olive oil and chopped onion. And we're boiling. The purpose of this boil down is going to be getting all that water out of the onion. So we want these to be nice and glassy. You don't want them to burn, but don't be too afraid of that either if a couple do. But stir them occasionally so that they do that. So we're going to be looking for these onions to be going to more of a glassy look. We get all that onion water out. And then we're going to strain that. We're just going to dump this whole thing into a strainer, and then we're going to put it back in the stock pot, and then we're going to add Coca-Cola and such, and I'll show that next. This is a really good recipe, good on hot dogs, burgers, bratwurst, Philly cheesesteaks, really anything you like onions on. These will kick it up about 10,000 degrees. Quote Emerald, BAM! Sorry if you're wearing headphones there. But this is a really simple recipe. You can make it home. You can, but if you're a food truck, hot dog cart, anything like that, these of course will add a major kick to your recipe repertoire. This is not my recipe. I got this from Ben Wilson a long time ago, and even he credits it to somebody else. So this is just a way to make a batch of them, which is a little bit easier instead of making them day by day. They'll generally last really good for up to 72 hours in refrigeration. So you can actually take some out with you each day as you go, or if you're doing a big event or anything, you can do them by the batch. It's a lot easier than trying to do them on site or anything like that. They're pre-cooked then, they're ready to go. This takes about 5 to 10 minutes to boil the water out, and generally I will put the lid on them because that steaming will actually then prevent it from burning a little bit more too, and it helps boil that water out. So alright, next to the Coke. Now it's important to remember to do this on about medium heat. Your goal here is not to grill the onions, but to boil them, and we want to remove a lot of juice. Stick the stock pot back over towards the oven. I'll put it back on the eye. Use your ladle or spoodle or whatever you prefer. Kind of stir the onions up to speed up the process of draining all that juice. The more onion juice you get out, the absolute better. Because what that allows is then for it to, once we'll add the Coca-Cola, you'll be sucking up all that Coca-Cola instead of the juice. The onions will be looking for something to suck up. They'll take on that sweetness, they'll take on a dark brown color, and come out really good. So, it's a fairly simple recipe that has just super results. All right, we're going to take our strainer, put the onions back in. And then immediately, what you want to do is just barely cover them with your Coca-Cola. Don't be afraid to use too much, it's just going to be liquid. And what we're going to try to do is boil some of this off anyway, so it's not a big deal. Use a light brown sugar. Add to flavor. If you want it sweeter, or you don't even need the brown sugar technically if you don't want them as sweet. You can play with it. I add about probably about half a cup to this much onion, and that way it's just going to super sweeten these onions. I prefer a Vidalia onion. They're already kind of naturally sweet. And they're in the pot. Alright guys, and May not look pretty, bunch of brown onions, but man, here in about 5 to 10 more minutes, you just let them cook. No really worry about them burning. They're sitting in a bunch of liquid. Of course, that was cold liquid, so that's going to just slowly boil into these onions and make the most delicious little topping you've ever tasted. You, to quote Ben Wilson, you could, the king of hot dogs, you could put this on a shoe and eat it. And I'm really not joking about that. I believe that 100%. Anything you put this on, your recipe will just go through the roof. So I mean, if you've already got a killer burger recipe, man, adding this to it, especially if say you've got a salty bacon in there, you know, your hot dogs, this is just crazy with some grilled sauerkraut too. I mean, it really goes well with almost anything else you put on it. I absolutely love this on a Philly cheesesteak. That way, if you season your cheesesteak with seasoned salt or whatever you might use for your seasoning, it really kind of counteracts that, and then it goes with the peppers. And when I do the green bell peppers, how I actually boil them down ahead of time using hot sauce, thus the peppery taste kind of really comes out in them, and this just plays off of that, so you get that little bit of kick and the super sweet, and then the salt from the meat, and it just comes out really, really good. Alright guys, but that is the Coca-Cola Grilled Onions, the master recipe. 5 to 10 minutes, this will be done. You put it in a container to refrigerate, and you're all set. Don't forget, about 72 hours at that point, they start breaking down. They will become sweeter and sweeter and sweeter as time goes on. As you've seen, this total process has taken, including chopping the onions, total process has taken, 20 minutes, 25 minutes if you get good at it. So it's not a hard recipe to do, and you can do this in a small batch. You can do it in a small little frying pan if you like, or a little pot. But if you just want for yourself or say your family, I mean, this is going to feed probably around 25 to 30 servings, but like I said, it's good for 3 days. So if you've got a cookout coming up or anything like that. All right, thank you much. This has been Bowtie Street Foods signing out. Please like and subscribe down below if you can, and leave a comment on any recipes you'd like to see in the future.